Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's Days of Our Lives, April 30th, 2026, at the end of the month. So, honestly, we know this is going to be a bang at the end of this week with the whole Chanel, Johnny, Sophia thing. Definitely was a very interesting episode today, but let's get the little boring stuff out of the way first. So, start off with Marlena and Brady. So Brady is just over there to tell her that, hey, everything is reinstated. She can go see Rachel whenever she likes, because he showed Dr. Gregory that he also had joint custody of Rachel. So he is allowed to have anybody visit her. So Marlene is happy to hear that she gets to visit her granddaughter. And she also asked about the business forefront, what's happening with that. So he said that bad news on that front, that Xander won't budge. And he's sorry, he tried to talk to Philip, but Philip is backing his brother on that. And, he doesn't want to pressure Marlena in taking up something that's, going to make her feel uncomfortable. So she said all her practice, she's always encouraging people to compromise, and she needs to just take a leaf out of her own book. So she doesn't want to let down the company nor the family, and she knows how important it is to him and John, this business. So we didn't really hear if she's going to really try to work with Xander. I guess she's trying to say that she will try to work with Xander so that, there's peace maintained. So, that was really it with them. Stephanie comes to the hospital because she has a session with Marlena. She talks to her mom first and confides in her what's been going on recently. She's told her that Joy came back with the baby, with a baby, and it may be Alex's. So, Kayla is also surprised because she thought this was a pregnancy scare. And, she, of all persons, know how that feels to go through that, especially when, Ava came back and told Steve that he has another son. And, it wasn't really by, free will, as we remember that storyline, right? So she had to overcome it. Trip is like family to them right now. So, she just says to her, look, Joy's not Ava, so you guys should be able to work it out. So Stephanie's just hoping that it happens, but we already know that this is not going to really end well. And especially because Stephanie has been so less than understanding about it and very whiny. She has her session with Marlena, and she tells Marlena what happened recently with Joy coming back with the baby and Alex, and she just feels as if she's not really equipped to deal with a woman's child right now. She doesn't feel like she can handle that, and she's worried about how her and Alex's marriage is going to really fare out, because she says Alex is trying his best to be there for her and protect her, but she just doesn't feel like that. She feels smothered, and it's because of her past relationship trauma, the kind of guy she's chosen. She also said that Jeremy passed the boundary by kissing her, and she probably feels guilty about it because she kind of leaned on him too much. And Marlena reminded her that she's not to blame for that. That's just on Jeremy. So she says that, look, she's doing the best for her right now. That's all she can focus on. She can't focus on nobody else and their decisions or what they decide to do. She only can make her own decisions and try to just focus on healing. She talked about the whole gun rage thing and how's that faring out. And she said that that's been helping her, but at the same time, she just feels as if she, is letting Alex down. She doesn't feel like she's doing enough in terms of the healing. And Marlena reminds her that she's doing enough at this time right now, and to just give herself some grace. She doesn't really know how it's going to fare out with Alex, because she's fearing that Alex might, end up with the person that bears his child, right? So she doesn't know if they're going to really, pan out, especially the fact that they have so much contention about having kids together. And after the whole incident, she's not really, she's not really interested to really do that. So Marlena is glad that she's talking about that because of the societal pressures, but Stephanie's not worried about the societal pressures. She's worried more about Alex's per se and how that's going to really affect their marriage, that she's not really interested. But either way, they need to just wrap up this Stephanie storyline. It's getting annoying now. It's really boring me, and I'm just glad that this actress is going, because she really does not do nothing for the show, and that's just my opinion on that. So Brady talked to Sarah. Sarah's, saying, oh, you came to see little me. So I said, kind of, but I also came to tell Marlena that her rights to see Rachel has been reinstated. And he complained about Xander, how Xander is blocking her from working with whoever she want to work with at Basic Black. And he's complaining to her about it. So she said, we need to have some kind of thing said at the break room against our exes and all that, and how to deal with that. But Brady said that we're happy and that's all that really counts. At some point he tells Sarah that he got a phone call from Steve saying that the prints on the pill bottle matches Sophia. So now they can able to go to the police and speak about how to really nail Sophia once and for all. So he does talk to Jada and Sean, who are in the hospital room. He's getting ready to get discharged to her place, but he said to them that we had to get the solid proof that Sophia is trying to set up Holly and she involved my daughter in it. And he asked her if that's enough to charge her. So she said no, but we can bring her in for questioning. So she's gonna handle that at some point. So speaking of Sean and Jada, Sean, as I said, he's getting ready to get discharged and he's showing how he can walk around. He's done the PT, so he's ready to get out there, and Jada's there to pick him up. He does fall into her arms, and of course we know this routine, how it goes. It's gonna bring them close together. We know this little stint that they do. So anyways, she said it seems as if you're not really ready to be on your feet, so she brings him back to his bed. Kayla comes over to check on him, and Kayla does tell Jada that Sean still has to do the PT or something like that. I wasn't really paying attention. It wasn't really much of a scene. And yeah, Brady did come to them about the whole Sophia thing, and once Jada left to take care of that, he and Sean talk, and Sean heard about him joining Black Patch, and he's happy to hear that because he's following in his father's footstep. And they talk about how they're leading the way from their father's respective careers, and how it's like to really hold that torch. So yeah, that was really it. Also, on the other front of the hospital, Chanel and Chanel and Sarah, they go down to the radiology room. She does the test, and Chanel is just antsy to just go home so that she can wait for Lonnie to bring back Trey from the aquarium. And also she hasn't been getting through to Johnny. We already know what's happening with Johnny, but she doesn't know. Now Sarah said that she needed to stay there in her gown in case the radiographer wanted to run some more tests. So of course Chanel is already irritated. She doesn't want to stay here, and Sarah was urging her to call Johnny one last time. She said, "You sure he really needs to be a part?" But she said, yes, I mean, it's great to have a supportive partner, especially through something like this. So Sarah does leave her, and she talks to Kayla because she's just worried about Chanel, and it doesn't really seem good. The prognosis doesn't seem so good based on the findings, and she was confiding in Kayla all of that. And she's concerned about the lump on the left breast. It may be cancer. So they're going through a lot, honestly, and they don't really need it, especially with the baby and all that. Yeah, it's not looking so good for Chanel at this point. So speaking of Johnny has been pepper sprayed and knocked, pistol whipped, and now he's tied up by Sophia. And Sophia is setting up the trap. She didn't want to follow through with what Kristen suggested, so she did her things her way, looked up something on the internet and set up the perfect trap to really see him suffer rather than just make it easy on him. So she set up this thing with some candles, some acetone fumes, and that fume is filled from the burners being turned on. And she said it's really because Johnny really turned her life upside down, messed up her life ever since he didn't want to go through the adoption in the first place, and it stopped her from going to her dream school. It stopped her from pursuing her career and blah blah blah, being a victim again and blaming Johnny wholeheartedly for everything going bad in her life and how people see her and nobody loves her, and it's just so exhausting because this girl does not take no accountability. She talked about how she went to a psychiatric institution. Girl, you caused that on yourself because you kept meddling with other people and you just didn't know how to move on. And even though you're out of baby, you still don't move on. Had you take your meds, you wouldn't probably be doing all this thing. And Kristen is to blame for this because she is playing on your mental health issues and then fueling that victim thing, that I gotta get back what I need to get back kind of attitude. And it's just crazy how she would manipulate this teenager still, because she's still a teenager. Now, Johnny's begging for his life, pleading. He's sorry for everything. He's sorry. And he's saying, hey, him and Chanel can help her turn her life around. You know, she can have some time with the baby. You know, spend more time. Think about your son. And she said, that's all I think about. Every time I close my eyes, he's crying. I hear him crying and all that. And I have nothing against your wife. Like, she can go carry on. But you need to go. You need to die. So he's like, what about the people that live in this building? Like, you're not only blowing up my life, you're blowing up everybody else's innocent life. And she said, that's going to be on you. It's not my fault. And it's just a whole mess. So anyways, Chanel was calling and she's like, you want to say your last goodbye to your wife? And he said, yes, please. And she said, no, she doesn't need that stress. She's carrying baby. So at some point she leaves, and you know, Johnny is just screaming, Sophia, please don't do this. You don't want to do this. And he thinks about his family, and he's screaming that he has to be there for his family. Chanel comes in with the baby, and Johnny's like, you don't need to be here. So she's like, no, I'm not leaving here. So she tries to out the candle as he suggested, and we don't know what happened after that. Like, boom. So at this point, Chanel is pregnant. She is risky right now. Any kind of access to no fumes or anything is not healthy for her, especially that she might have cancer. Like, oh my gosh, this doesn't look good at all. And Sophia's there writing some fake suicide note about how Holly wanted her dead, and now she's gonna grant her wish. I guess this is her goodbye note. She's gonna, you know, hightail it out of there. And you know, she's there crying. She took a picture of the baby and she's crying, sobbing about it and blah, blah, blah. But we already know Brady's going to find it. He's going to talk to her mom. Let's see how this really turns out. I can't wait till EJ find out about this and really start going up on some people, especially Kristen, because this was just low. But anyways, guys, this is it for today's episode. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys tomorrow.